And then on TikTok, it's I feel good about the. I couldn't fit the S in, so it's just I feel good about the. So follow me there and share with your friends. I feel good about this. Hi, welcome back to episode 3 of I Feel Good About This. I want to just start off by saying that because this is our third episode, and I started my first episode talking about how, I had lost my employment twice. I got laid off in 8 months, and starting this podcast was like a great way for me to not crash out. Update. I'm crashing out. I'm crashing out. I just got a letter in the mail today that my unemployment is running out. So that was a fun surprise because I thought I had a longer on that, but that turned out not to be true. So if you work for the state of Illinois, I'd love for you to give me a call and figure out how I can get that back because it hasn't been long enough. Anyways, at this point, I'm willing to do anything. I'm talking stuff on the internet that some people maybe aren't willing to do when they are gainfully employed. Maybe it's an OnlyFans situation where I sort of start up an account and I wear turtlenecks and then like reveal my neck. And is that something that somebody might be sort of willing to pay a monthly fee for? I could also do long pants and socks where I roll down the socks and expose my ankle. I'm also like more than ready and willing to sell those piggies online too. And by piggies, I mean my feet. Um, but it kind of seems like that's difficult to do. So if anybody has any ideas of some sort of like fun side hustle or income streams that like don't take a lot, that mean that I can keep my clothes on, that can make my main focus sort of creating this kind of content and then sort of put little to no effort in either the feet pics or whatever side hustle you guys have for me, that would be great because I'm about to lose it. Anyways, we're here and I'm glad we're here. It's episode 3. Another thing that I wanted to mention in the intro is that I've been calling this a podcast since day one. But the truth is, it's been a YouTube show because honestly, there was nowhere where you could get the audio. Because I thought in order to have a podcast, you just declare it a podcast. But it turns out you need to have this up on podcast streaming sites as well, to download or stream to listen to. So we are there now where you get your regular podcast. You can listen to audio only. If you want to hear, a woman who's losing it talk to you through the speakers of your car, go ahead and download it. Feel free. We are on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify, and then there are other podcast platforms I'm unfamiliar with, but I think we're on there too. So find us. If we're not somewhere you want us to be, let me know and we'll make sure we get there because obviously I want to be heard everywhere. So thank you so much for joining us again. Let's get started for episode 3. The first thing I feel good about this week is the art of the long phone call. Now, this may be polarizing for a lot of people. I've had many people in my life tell me that if their phone never rang again, they would be happy as a clam, texts only, and sometimes not even those. People are happy with the happy medium of a voice note, which I think is nice. And I think all of those things have their time and place. But as an elder millennial, I do think one of the important things is having like an hour and a half phone call with someone who you love and can chat with and yap with for hours that doesn't live in the same city as you. Although, I mean, hey, I'm actually willing to go ahead and do it even if I see this person on a regular basis, because as established by this podcast, I am a certified yapper. But it's one of my favorite things because I live in different cities from a lot of my close friends. When we can make that time to sit down. We're both comfortable in our respective homes. Maybe there's a couch involved. I mean, I hope there's a blanket, maybe even a pillow if you're getting really comfortable. A delicious snack because it's got to be someone who doesn't mind the sound of chewing because I need to be chewing, I need to be eating, stuffing my face. Because when I'm gossiping and we're catching up and we are going over all of our mutual friends, people that are in their lives that I don't know, but I know. Do you know what I mean? It's like their coworkers or their friends that you've never met in person, but you know all about them. You know what's going on with them and their husband. You know about, the disagreements they have and all that kind of stuff. And it's like very low stakes gossip that doesn't affect me, but I love to hear about it. So there's that. Then there's, of course, the, at least 45 minutes where you talk about your own personal existential crises that you're going through and you get advice from that person. Or one of my personal favorites, which I know I've heard a lot of people like to do this as well, where you go over like a piece of lore between your friendship that you have been talking about for 15 years. It's a similar situation. Maybe there's no update, maybe there's a tiny update, but you want to go over it again and make sure that you are each other's yes men. You guys are celebrating how you've handled the situation, talking about how the other person couldn't have been more wrong, and after 15 years, really should consider picking up the phone and apologizing. I love it. It's so nice. You don't get to do that often. And bonus points if it's a FaceTime, because again, this is just me wanting to be seen all the time. That's the whole point of this podcast, is the whole point of my life. But I love a FaceTime. You get to see people's expressions. You get to know what's going on. You get to know what they're doing, what they're snacking on. You often talk about, what you got at Trader Joe's that week or at H Mart or at Costco, how on sale it was. I mean, when I tell you that, and I've mentioned this before, my favorite energy drink, Alani, it was $6 off at Costco for like a few months. Do you know how many people I had that conversation with? So many. And you know what? People cared. People were invested because people of a certain age, again, elder millennials, love a deal because we're making less money than our parents. And we love something that is low cal, high protein. Not that Alani has protein, but it's high caffeine. High protein is definitely sort of taken over. But if you're a caffeine girly like me, you want something with at least 200 milligrams. So that's the conversations that I'm having. And it can be deep and meaningful, or it can be, samples at Costco, whatever you want. So call your friends, make the time. It's like hanging out, but not because you can't because you're in different cities. Or it's like hanging out in the same city, but neither of you have to leave your house, which is an incredible benefit because who likes leaving the fucking house? Another reason for the FaceTime versus the phone call, either way, we're talking for a long time, but I love the idea of a FaceTime because you really get to see your friends at their worst. And they get to see you at your worst. It's like you have no makeup on, your hair's a mess, maybe you haven't showered yet, you certainly aren't thinking about lighting. You're underneath the big light in your living room and you are like pimples out, red face, maybe even like a situation where you're doing a mask, which is always nice to talk to somebody while you're doing a mask. It's sort of like killing two birds with one stone. And you're investing in skincare, but you're showing the world, well, I guess not the world, you're showing your friends who you really are. And there's no more larger vulnerability than hopping on FaceTime on your front facing iPhone camera with no makeup, the big light, and your hair up in a greasy bun. So another thing I feel really good about this week is I have made the decision on what my final meal would be. And I know you guys know what I'm talking about. It's like a constant question. If you were on death row, what is the last meal you would eat? And for me, that is a really difficult question because I super, super hate picking favorites. Like, I know when someone is asking me, hey, what's your favorite song? They mean, what is your favorite song right now? What are you enjoying? What's on repeat? But what I hear and the pressure I put on myself is, hey, you've been alive for 41 years on this earth. What is your favorite song of all time that rises above all others? And tell me right now, with no time to sort of mull over it. Don't pull up your Spotify and see what you enjoy and what you have enjoyed for the last 40 years. Tell me right now, what is the song that has had the most impact on your life forever? And so I feel this kind of the same way when someone asks me what my final meal is. It's like I'm a person who loves food. Most people are people who love food. Although I do have one friend who talks about how he doesn't like food, just like he doesn't care about food, which I like is upsetting to me. That's a whole nother conversation. If you're watching, you know who you are. And I think that's weird and I'll never get over it. Anyway, so the decision has been made because it's so difficult to make a decision about the food that I want. There's so many life-changing meals that have had an impact on me that if the finality of choosing one final thing really feels like too much. So I made the decision that if I know that I'm walking to my death, being led to my death by a bunch of correction officers, what I want to do before I go out is I want to have 3 dirty martinis and a half a pack of cigarettes. Hear me out. A dirty martini is kind of like a meal because you get the olives and it's like briny and savory and delicious. So you don't feel like it's a drink, but it's also so much alcohol that when you drink one, you're fucking gone, anyways. And imagine having three, you're shit faced by the time your own execution comes up. So you're kind of just like, well, anything goes. Here we are. And then I always ask for 3 olives when I get a dirty martini. So you've had 9 olives at this point. That's practically girl dinner. And then, of course, if I'm dying, I'm going to want to smoke a lot of cigarettes. I don't smoke now. I gave up the habit a long, long time ago. But I want everyone listening to understand that smoking, while horrible for you, and you shouldn't do it and you shouldn't start, it kills you, it makes you look old, it steals your voice, it makes you hack up things you never knew you could hack up. That is sort of the disclaimer before this. But I've never loved any vice more than smoking cigarettes in my entire life, which is such a bummer that I started because now I can't even like I can't be one of those people who can have a casual cigarette after a drink and be like that was fun. No, I will go ahead and I will rent an 18 wheeler and I will drive to Indiana, the closest state where the taxes are much lower, and I will fill it with cartons of cigarettes. So I can't be trusted around a cigarette unless I'm dying, and then I can smoke as much as I want. So that is a plea to really think about your final meal and think about what you want to do before you die. And for me, I'm saying fuck it. I'm getting absolutely rip roaring drunk and I'm smoking probably half a pack of cigarettes. That's probably as much as I can do if I'm lighting them off each other while I'm drinking my 3 martinis. So, yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys what your last meal or last chance to imbibe might be. Let me know. Let us know in the comments. I'm really curious because choosing a meal is too difficult for me. The finality is too much, but I would love to go out drunk and smoking like a chimney.
There was one guy who requested a lump of dirt, but it was denied, so he had yogurt instead. But I've also heard that you can only request things that the person already made.
I've heard that too, which I think, but I've also heard people are like, oh, they went out to get me KFC.
I think it depends where you're at
Yeah, that's probably true.
and the budget and if the people like you, probably.
Yeah, like I don't think like you can be like, hey, I'd love for my last meal to be like an experience at Alinea. You know,
No,
you
I don't.
killed someone. You're not eating at
I
Alinea.
don't think they take people out of prison to go to dinner. I'm pretty sure that's not what happened.
So the next thing that I feel good about this week is the Biggest Loser documentary that came out on Netflix. I don't know if you guys have seen it. But I personally, since the dawn of time, and what I mean is since The Biggest Loser came out as a television show, have been a certified Biggest Loser hater. And so it's really nice to see this 20 some odd years later for this documentary to come out being like, yeah, you should have been a hater. Because it really confirms all my suspicions about the show, which I had at the time. As a fat person, I felt like this feels weird. It feels exploitative. Like fat people are treated so horribly on that show. They had like temptation challenges where they like put you in front of like a bunch of cakes and pizza and they're like, you can't eat it, fatty. And we're gonna laugh at you at home if you do. And it's so fucking offensive because it's the idea that people's fatness is tied to their unbelievable, like, lack of self control. Where it's like fatness is, we know so much more about that now, which is like a lot of it is genetics. You know what I mean? There are fat people who exercise and take really good care of themselves and are in really good shape. Like, thinness does not equal health. And that show really drove home that narrative. And the coaches, Jillian Michaels and Bob, were horrible. And I never watched, I will say, like, I never watched like the all of the shows, but I would catch episodes here and there because like there were people in my life who liked the show. And it was so awful the way they were like verbally abused by these like thin military like trainers. This is so fucking on brand that I burp during the Biggest Loser documentary talk. It was just I might as well be eating a tub of coleslaw. Anyways, Bob and Jillian are the fucking worst. Bob takes like slightly more responsibility than Jillian. Jillian won't take any responsibility, but it was really nice to see the documentary, and there was part of it that was like very sad because there were some people who were like, "Hey, this show fucking ruined my life. It fucked up my metabolism. It actually gave me a really horrible eating disorder." And made me feel like, I was less than, it made me feel like a bad person. Many people gained a large amount of weight back because they had you working out for 8 hours a day until you vomited and then eating like 1,200 calories. It was just like there was nothing about it that was healthy. And that was what like it was framed as is like these, there's a network television loves nothing more than a sob story. And the sob story for The Biggest Loser was, oh my God, big fatty who can't do anything loses 150 pounds in 8 weeks. Like, that's not right for your body. I mean, I'm not a doctor. Don't take medical advice from me. But that is my personal opinion. And, it was nice to see people talking about their experience and being like, yeah, the show really fucked me up. Because I remember watching it, in my late teens, early 20s, being like, oh, am I morally bad because I'm not thin? Thank God I had like good people around me who never made me feel that way. But I know, so many things fucked us up growing up. And The Biggest Loser was one of them. And I'm really happy to see the documentary just fucking destroying their asses. So the final thing I feel honestly great about this week is my resolve to never, ever, ever go on a cruise. And I've felt this way for a long time. And if you like it, I love it. But what I have seen And again, we're going back to Netflix documentaries, which have helped me solidify this decision. I mean, you always hear about like everybody on the cruise came down with norovirus and everyone was vomiting and pooping all over themselves for 10 days straight. So they didn't get to enjoy Aruba. Like, honey, I can't be doing that. I can't be on like a just like a mini uh, like city where everyone's sharing everything and spitting on each other and pooping on each other. And so I saw two documentaries that really helped me make this decision. One was called Trainwreck Poop Cruise, which I'm sure you can sort of glean from the title, is everyone's worst fucking nightmare. You should watch it. It's interesting, but it's also like cruise industries don't care about you. And if you have to sift through layers and layers of poop water on a cruise and have no electricity and no food for several days, they're gonna absolve themselves of all responsibility for that. It's like you chose to take the cruise, so we can't promise everything is gonna go well. And it's like if I'm paying thousands of dollars to go on vacation on this moving city on the water, and I then am struck by the overflowing of toilets, the electricity going out, just constant. I guess like it turned into like bedlam, every man for themselves. There was no community. People weren't taking care of each other. It was like everyone was hoarding food and trying to, poop in red plastic bags. Nightmare. I'm not doing it. I'm not going on a cruise, particularly if there's poop involved. And furthermore, the second documentary that I saw, which actually is like, sorry to bring it down, but it is the story about Amy Bradley who went missing on a cruise 30 years ago. And I'm just, her the tragedy is intense, and her poor family who has been literally searching for her for 30 some odd years. I just think the vacations I take are going to be different from what happens on a cruise. I'm not signing up for that. I'm not living by maritime law because that's what binds the people on a cruise. It's not the country that you're in, it's the wild west of the world, I guess. I don't know. What I'm saying is anything goes in maritime law. And I'm a lawyer, so I know. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know what maritime law is really. I just kind of heard that it's sort of like, you choose whatever country's laws you want to be beholden to as a cruise ship because there are literally no laws on the water. So yeah, I don't love those odds, particularly when it's like $1 billion corporation and they can do anything they want. You're their captive. You're on the open waters. You don't know how to steer a vessel of that size. The captain is essentially your president. So you're fucked. Anyways, I hope we all have lovely vacations where we can jump into the water for a quick dip and then go back on land. And if anything happens to us, we can sort of take it from there. But there isn't a cruise line involved because I'm telling you, you watch those two documentaries, it will absolutely make you never want to go on a cruise again or at all. And here we are at the segment. This is I don't feel good about this week. And the first thing I want to talk about is something that's happening more and more frequently, which is I hate when someone in the public eye has some sort of big accomplishment, and maybe they're a pop star, or they've are an actor in an incredible movie, and I do a little research on them and I discover they're younger than me. And that is, to me personally, offensive you have to be older than me to be sort of checking these off your list because I haven't done anything yet. I haven't done anything yet. I mean, there's things, but nobody's talking about them. You know what I mean? And if you are doing things that we're all talking about, you must be older than me. That's just the rule. You know, I'm finding more and more out about these kids these days who are, 25 and have, I had to Google who Madison Beer was the other day because I was like, I don't recognize that name or that person. I think she was like 25, 26. She's wildly famous. And it was because I think like she's a singer and Justin Bieber like retweeted a cover or something that she did and now everybody knows her and she's super famous. And I'm just saying like she shouldn't have done that without checking with me first. Because I'm older and I need to get something done. I need attention for doing something first. So this is honestly a plea to anybody with a following to share this, let people know I'm up for being discussed in like a very positive sort of um wow, what an incredible creative talent. We haven't seen the likes of this in years type of way. So if you want to do that for me, that would be great because again, all of these kids, I'm hearing about their names. You've got your Tate McRae's and your Madison Beers and your, you know, I'm sure there's a Riley in there. I'm sure there's a an Abigail. I don't know. I don't know what these kids are called, but I'll tell you what, it's not my name. And it needs to be because I'm getting older. Okay? So just a little PSA to all of you out there. Don't do something impressive if you're younger than 41, okay? I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm thinking that people can sort of share anecdotes about me, things that I've done, which is, I don't know this for sure, but I certainly think being laid off twice in 8 months is crazy. Like, have other people had that experience? Also, for talking about poop, I think in each episode of her newly launched podcast, that's new. I don't think other people are doing that. Um, Being so shameless and begging for money on the internet, not begging people for money but begging people to give me attention so it somehow gets me money. I think that's kind of an accomplishment that people could talk about. I also would be happy to sort of engage in breaking some sort of Guinness World Record where I just don't stop talking for the longest period of time. I think I'm really well equipped to do something like that. And then I would love to sort of stage a situation where I like save several children from drowning. It obviously wouldn't be real, but it would get people talk. Because like, look, I don't want anyone to go at my hand or sort of get injured in the process of me trying to find attention. But we could stage something really safe. I'd be happy to work with like a Hollywood producer or somebody who has some money to put into this who really wants to take a chance on a gal like me. So think about it. I'm willing to do a lot. I'm willing to do most things. That's not true. I'm willing to do very little. I've got a what I'm saying is I've got a list I'm willing to work with. So let's talk. Okay, moving on. The next thing I don't feel good about this week is television shows that have more than one episode per week. Um, No. Okay. I, despite what may appear to the public eye, am a busy person. I got things going on. I've got long phone calls to have. I've got internet to serve. I've got friends who I need to guilt into making me dinner. I've got things on my plate. And TV shows, which I enjoy watching, in particular, I'm thinking about Love Island USA or Love Island UK, but I've only watched the USA version, and Big Brother, a show I do love so much that I believe some of these shows air like 3 to 5 times a week. Love Island, I couldn't. When I was watching Love Island, I could not keep up with how many times it aired a week. It was so stressful. Like every time I went to the Peacock app, which is where I watch Love Island USA, it was like I was I was like, it was so daunting. Of course, there was another 2, 3 episodes for me to catch up on. It's like I can't, I can't be doing this. I would love for you to either cut out all the bullshit because we know there's a lot of bullshit going on. Which, like, if there are live feeds like there are in Big Brother, I'm just gonna scroll through TikTok and find out what crazy shit happened on the live feed. Anyways, I don't need to be a part of the television show if it doesn't move the plot forward, and the plot being, winning money on Big Brother or finding love in Love Island USA. I don't think anybody's finding love in Love Island USA. I mean, we're there for the money. We're there to make out with strangers that become friends, and make connections, pull people for a chat. But we're not finding love in these hyper ridiculous scenarios. Also, everyone on Love Island is like 24. You're not like getting married to someone you met on television at 24. If you are, babe, your decision making, like, really, we really got to go over some of our impulses, because that's not, you don't know that person, and like chances are you guys have been love bombing each other and also like humping while on camera, and it's like, what do you say? You're like, hey mom, check out the show. Like, I'm on it and I'm doing some fun things this week, like humping a person I met 2 weeks ago who I also already told them that I love them. Healthy, healthy stuff. Make sure grandma watches. Like, is this what we're doing? Anyways, I've sort of gone off the rails here, but I do love the show. But like, I think we all know, and I hope the people on the show know, it's like you're not like finding love, you're finding followers for your social media pages, and then getting brand deals and making some money. Which, like, look, again, as someone who's desperate, I get it. I fully get it, and I'm willing to hawk whatever for those kind of deals. So I understand, but if we're gonna do this, can we please not air like 6 to 25 times a week? I need one episode where we get all the drama condensed into. I would even do a 2 hour episode, but I can't do like 6 hour and a half episodes. Big Brother, another favorite show of mine. I've been watching for years. If you don't watch it and you're judging me right now, I'm gonna need you to go ahead and take a look in the mirror and have a conversation with yourself. Like, I wonder why it's one of the longest running shows, even though I've never watched it and I'm judging a person who enjoys it. It's a good fucking show. Anyways, I went on vacation for 2 weeks and I missed so many episodes that the idea of catching up is incredibly daunting. And I will do it because, again, I'm there for my people and Big Brother, but I have to know how it goes. It's really, really important to me. But yeah, one episode a week is enough. Please, I'm begging you. The final thing I do not feel good about this week, which I haven't felt good about for a while, but obviously I didn't have a podcast before, so this is my chance to talk about it. If you know me, you've probably heard me talk about it because I feel very passionately about this. But I don't feel good about camping this week and every week. It's awful. And I understand that some people really, really enjoy doing it, and I don't want to take that away from you, but I'm going to explain to you why you need to stop inviting me to go camping. I, I really struggle sleeping in general, and I really struggle sleeping in uncontrolled temperature environments or temperature controlled environment. I don't like it when it's too hot. Okay. And that's all camping is. It's sweating and getting dirty. And again, because I can't have a segment without mentioning poop. Where am I doing that? Where am I doing that? If it's anywhere other than a flushable toilet, count me out. And furthermore, I am a daily shower. I know some people aren't. I am. It fuels me, it gets me through the day. I need to do it. I'm routine oriented when it comes to my daily showers. And I am fucking miserable without a shower. I'm not nice and I'm not fun. Like, I think a lot of people enjoy my company when I'm in a good environment, but put me in an environment where I haven't been able to clean myself, or I've had to clean myself in like a public, like campsite shower where there are spiders on the wall and like athlete's foot just crawling up from the drains. I'm not, I am an unpleasant person. I love that people love it, and I love the outdoors, but I just don't want to sleep there. And I don't want to have to rely on like a stream to get clean. You know what I mean? Because that's, in my opinion, not clean. I want to spend time outdoors, enjoy beautiful scenery, and then retire to a hotel for my own home. That's my idea of being outdoorsy. So yeah, I love that, people love camping. My wife is a big fan of camping, although I'm gonna expose her a little bit because the reason why this came up is because she goes camping with a group of our friends. She's been doing it for the last like 3 or 4 years, around August, and they pick a campsite somewhere in the Midwest and go and camp for a few days. And she went to a campsite this year, and had a great time. Was overjoyed to see her friends, my friends too. By the way, they invited me, and I love them, and I love you guys. But I'm not going. I'll see you in the city. Um, but within 20 minutes of arriving, my wife called me using a tone of voice that I had not heard before, and we've been together for like 12, 13 years. And she was like, "Oh my God, Jane, I can't believe what just happened to me. I stepped on some, it was either like some sort of colony or nest of bees, and she got stung like 8 times in a row. Thankfully, she's not allergic, didn't go into anaphylactic shock. But I was like, "You are okay right now?" And she was like, "It hurts, but I'm okay." Like, if that happened to me on a camping trip, I literally would have gotten in the car and turned around and went home, regardless of whether I liked camping or not. Like, that is a vacation ending event for me because I literally could not move past that. It would be all that I could talk about. I would need to unpack it with every person at the campsite, and people were marking how calm she is, and that's her personality. She's a very calm person, which I know is surprising. If you don't know me and know my wife, we are literally polar opposites. She doesn't talk a lot and she's very calm. I can never stop talking, and I've never been calm about anything in my entire life. I'm constantly gasping at the smallest inconvenience. So she powered through, and she had a great time. But she did text me. She came home a night early, and she did text me on the final night that she was there. And she was like, "I'm really unhappy. I'm so dirty. I'm so uncomfortable. I think I'm going to come home early." And she said, "This is your fault. You showed me luxury," which was the phrase she used. And I love how luxury is just like a shower for her. But she used to be able to do it and last a little bit longer. And I know she had a great time, but it did make me laugh that she's using me as a scapegoat. Like, she's outgrown being a dirty kid and now she wants to take her daily shower. So shout out to campers. If you like it, I love it for you, not for me. I would love to meet at a restaurant or like even an outdoor picnic, and then we all sort of go home and go sleep in a bed at the very least. We are now at the final segment called "I Don't Know How I Feel About This Week." And I really just have one thing that I've been pondering, that I'm curious how people are feeling. Love Island UK. It is in its second season now, it just started. As we established before, if you watch the other segment, I'm a big fan of reality dating shows. I watch it all because it makes me feel superior and I love judging people. And I do love love. I want to root for love. But like, I think, again, like I was talking about when it came to Love Island, it's like, these shows are not actually real. People aren't finding love on these shows. But I'm watching Love Island UK and I'm kind of over the US version. I just can't I can't do it again. But there's something that pulls me into the Love Island UK. Sorry, I keep saying Love Island. I mean Love is Blind UK. Love is Blind UK. And I think the only reason why I can kind of tolerate it anymore is because everyone is so delightfully British and you get those phrases that people say where it's like, oh, he's a bit of me, which is so fucking funny. I've never heard an American person say that. In fact, if I did, I'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I think that means like, I like the thing that he does. That's something that I like in a person. Oh, he's a bit of me. Um, if I'm wrong, like UK viewers, please let me know. I have no idea what I'm talking about. But you have those delightful phrases and you just get a lot of different accents, which I love. You've got Northern Irish, you've got regular Republic of Ireland, you've got, you know, all the accents in England, which, range from North, South, London, posh, all of those ones. And then you have Scotland, which is like, that's another range of accents. So that really makes it fun to watch, but, like, I don't know how I feel about it because I feel like at this point, we know that love is not blind. Like, there's been very few successful relationships from this show. And also the idea that love is blind, it's like, yeah, you are dating when you can't see each other and then you propose, but it's not like a real proposal because it's like, you don't actually have to get married to this person because you then spend like 2 weeks living with them and then have the wedding. And it's like, you can decide then whether this is real. And at that point, you've already seen them. So it's like, love isn't blind because you have maybe an emotional connection with someone, but then when you meet them in person, if you have no physical connection, then baby, love ain't blind. And that has come to pass many times. Also, you don't know a person after dating them through a wall for 2 weeks. And it's like this almost very intense, like, love bomby situation, which I think is like pretty toxic actually. And a lot of people like, it's like you're drinking alcohol, your only objective is to date, and you kind of get into this like environment where all of that stuff is heightened. And then you get into the real world and it's like, yeah, this person's kind of unpleasant and like I don't want to have sex with them. So I don't know how to feel about the show because I like watching it, particularly the British version. But I want to know what you guys think. Are you still sticking with Love and Blind? Love is Blind. Do you feel like it's real? It's not real, right? Am I am I jaded? Like, am I wrong about this? I want to know what you guys think. So let me know, and let me know if it's a bit of you. So that's it. That's episode 3 of I Feel Good About This. I'm so glad you guys joined again and made it to the end here. Like, congratulations. You had a front row seat to my crash out, my chaotic crash out of episode 3. I'm proud of myself for keeping it together up until this point. Episode 1 and 2 were rather pleasant, but I'm sort of losing touch with reality. So I'm hoping the rest will be as chaotic. And I hope you enjoyed it because I can't dial this back at this point. This is where I'm at. So if you enjoyed it and if you liked it, thank you for watching. Share with your friends. Follow us on everything. We're at I Feel Good About This Pod on YouTube. And I think I Feel Good About This Pod on Instagram. And then on TikTok, it's I Feel Good About the. I couldn't fit the S in, so it's just I Feel Good About the. So follow me there and share with your friends. I love you. Bye. I feel good about this. So that's it. That's episode. Episode. Oh, that was so. That was probably so loud on the mic.
What is that? That's crazy.
That's literally never happened to me.
Julianne Moore. You're auditioning just now for May, December. So that I'm
Broken.
Drink more honey. Drink more honey. Drink more honey.
Yeah, this will help.
Please help.